Let's call to order the redevelopment meeting for March 25th. Let's do roll call. Christina Stewart, here. Ashley, here. Max,
Here.
Jerry, here. Sandy,
Here.
Daryl. He's not here.
And then I'll just, being out last week, I didn't get a chance to get the March 11th meeting minutes done. So I'll add this set as well as last set at our April meeting. We'll move into old business. So we'll move into the request from 21 Pine LLC for the purchase of 12870 North Street. So Gage, myself, Mike Perlberg, John Watson, we met with the CDC's attorney, Anthony Smart, talk about kind of the terms. And they kind of reiterated that, you know, they're willing to do whatever it is the commission, the redevelopment commission wants to do. They'll kind of pass those along, but they did need some sort of clawback provisions, some sort of terms, and they would like a financial letter from whoever you're getting financing from or your lender, just to make sure that that's not going to be an issue before they would actually transfer the funds. Right. And I did ask, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to your lender on how they felt about that stuff, or if it's gonna.
Yeah, I called them last week, and I called them, the title company, and I didn't seem to have an issue with it.
So I did draft a kind of MOU just to set our terms, but John kind of thought that that might complicate everything to kind of add another agreement, because really there's going to be the, you know, if we really go with this, it's going to be the agreement between Commission, Dearborn Community Development Corporation, then there's going to be a separate agreement between Dearborn Community Development Corporation and Caleb. So like I said, I think we've all talked about the terms last meeting. It was the $46,000 towards the purchase, commercial on first floor, 2 years to have it. Basically everything up to code, leased, available, and then it couldn't be sold within a 5-year period. And then, like I said, now the CDC is pushing us though on that financial, some sort of lien fallback there. So I think we do kind of need to get that worked out to make sure that works for you. If that does work for you, we're all in agreement, then we'll kind of get that agreement drafted with the Community Development Corporation. They didn't say they're going to have some administration fees, because they'll probably a couple $1,000s. So I don't know if we're willing to cover that. I think we want to negotiate with Caleb to sort of covering some of that as kind of the closing fees. But that's just something else to consider.
You say a couple thousand, like 2,000,
That's how I
6,000?
took it.
1,000, yeah. Really just depends on what we get charged for things, for the overhead, for the attorney time, for the closing. And the Greendale agreement with the hotel, the developer paid. But it can be paid by you all, developer, or a mix.
So if we're looking at, let's just say 2,000, how would you feel about splitting that?
It was, I mean, I think I'd be okay with that.
Because I know we have income that we can, we're doing the CD again. We can take that back down to 200. That's 8,000.
That money's not.
That's not.
That's not. I mean, the interest.
Yeah, the
So
interest is what I'm saying. The interest is what we can take off the top and put that in our account, because we only truly need to
Right.
keep that 200, right? So we can take that, put it in our account, and we can use that for us to do the things like this that we want to do,
Right.
right?
Which was probably about, I guess, 8,000. I think it was a 4%.
Yeah,
We got on the last one.
yeah. So I mean, that's money we could use to do half. I just don't know that I want to.
I don't think we should do all.
No. But I don't see a problem with doing half. Does anybody else feel like that's
No, I
unfair?
think that's fair.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's,
what we're asking, and then.
Yeah,
The MOU that we started drafting, I feel more aligned with that than the one that was done between the hotel and that, Dearborn CDC or whatever. Just by reading it, just like there's a lot of like ongoing oversight and things that we didn't get too deep into. And that's why I was trying to reiterate, last meeting that I didn't wanna I specifically asked if there was gonna be more, more on top of what we agreed to, or what we were working on. So instead of that, I would like to continue working toward ours. I feel like ours is a lot more simple.
Right, but we can't, so that was just an example of what Greendale did. We don't have to do all those terms or the only one that they reiterated to me that was an issue was that clawback. They need some sort of clawback mechanism if you do not perform.
Which we talked about that, right? We have the 5-year clause in there, but it's activated, upon sale of the property, or if I miss the expectations, right? Is that?
I don't think they're able to lend you the money without there being some sort of mortgage or of some sort on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
That was my
Like,
understanding
that's-
of what Anthony was.
like the lien that we talked about.
correct,
Yeah,
right.
which I was okay with, because the subordinate lien is fine.
Which I
I
don't,
guess I'm not, what in here, does it,
so the copy I.
what is, the biggest problem with the Greendale one? Because I think if we agree that we don't need that, then we can agree.
I
we
mean,
don't
there
need
was
it.
just a lot more like ongoing, even after the project was finished, there was
To
still.
be fair, you guys are looking at the agreement between Greendale and the CDC. I think Caleb's referring to the
Okay,
agreement between
The hotel.
the hotel and the CDC. Yeah, so I
okay.
can print that out for you.
Can we
guys.
do that real quick? Because I want to make sure that you feel comfortable
Yeah,
before you see, you know what I mean? I want to feel like we're all in agreement, because I'm gonna be honest, if I get something on Wednesday, I can't print it and read it. Because I don't work on Wednesday, and I tried to get back to one of the branches to pull it up and print it, but I just didn't have time.
Do you want to just go through it? You want me, so
Yeah,
this,
We can do that. Here, let me find my glasses. Sorry, I'm a little vision
I
impaired.
think we can kind of just skip through the whereas statements. I mean, they're not,
Right,
but I mean, they were obviously talking about $650,000 for
Right.
the hotel.
right.
So then they resolved. They had a timeline for completion, subject to extensions granted to the borrower by the lender. So it was set up as a forgivable loan. Is this the one you're talking about, Caleb?
yeah,
Okay. So the borrower agrees that they will own and operate a hotel throughout the term of the loan. They will repay all unforgiven principal interest of the loan upon maturity date, which shall be 2 years from the date of issuance unless the loan is otherwise forgiven in accordance. I mean, essentially, if they perform, they're forgiven, but they did establish a 5% per annum rate accrued from the date of issuance. It could be prepaid without penalty. So they would submit an annual compliance report outlined in the later section.
Which we're not worried about that, because we know it's, our only request is it's up to code within 2 years. Not
I
an
think we-
annual report saying, is it still, I guess we would, I don't feel like we need that. per
Yeah, I
se.
mean, I guess it's just a matter of how we determine that, like I said, I know we talked about that it's got a CEO, it's up to building codes, it's available, it's release. So I don't know if that's just a matter of Caleb calls me and, we can go in there, we call the building department if there's permits that are required for whatever particular work they're doing. And we just kind of sign off on it, but it might be good to state what that means, I don't know. But are there other concerns you have with the compliance report? I guess we'll kind of go through it now, because I'm not sure exactly what is required of their compliance report. So they agree, the borrower agrees to provide a mortgage and promissory note to the lender securing the payment of the grant. And then the lender, so this would be the CDC, so they would disperse the money within 30 days of the agreement. They kind of have a procedure outlined. They record a mortgage for the loan amount.
Right.
Which is basically like a lien, right? I mean, it's-
Yeah. And shall be forgiven in full upon the borrower obtaining a certificate of occupancy for the project. So they basically give themselves 30 days to do the loan.
What part of it, Caleb, that you were?
Well, there's some, mostly like the oversight, you know, with the reporting and everything, like I mentioned that I would come up here and basically give you guys like quarterly reports.
Right.
You know, I feel like this gave them a lot more like power, just kind of like dictate what type of reporting, you know, I had to be doing for them. And then almost even, it sounded like to me that I could default if I didn't do the right reporting.
Right.
Fall under default, and that's like,
Right.
it's getting pretty.
Does that have to be in there?
I guess I'm kind of, I
Gage,
wish I
correct
could
me if
see
I'm-
the reporting. of
Correct me if
what.
I'm wrong, if I wasn't reading that right, but
No, I think that's the way that's written. If they don't meet the terms of the agreement, it could be in default and they would have to pay the loan back. So I don't think we're too concerned about the reporting. It's more so just that 2-year time period. I think we're all.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned with, I mean, obviously we want it to be up to code and we want it to be in 2 years, you have some, at least availability to be able to rent it, but I'm not as hard set on you coming up and saying, you know, hey, I got the piping in, hey, I got the, you know,
right.
the flooring. I mean, we know you want to do those things. If not, you wouldn't have already been in this situation with us.
I
So-
think this was, you know, the disbursement on this too, and this isn't this, so I don't, this was our, what you sent over, the MOU. So, there was like a disbursement clause in there where like proof of funds by contractors, whereas, you know, like, this is a smaller project for me, so, or a smaller project than this example, so I plan on doing a lot of the work myself.
Right.
Whereas I won't have receipts and things to turn in to, you know, have disbursement amounts.
Which I mean, our intention was, it was to reimburse you for the down payment, correct? So it's not really where we expect receipts on what you're actually doing.
Right, yeah,
Per
so there
se.
was, a lot of it was different, right?
Yeah.
This is a lot different than,
Oh, at $650,000, I'd be a little bit more concerned too.
Right.
I mean, we,
as long as I just have a little bit, you know, more time to look over it, you know, and kind of redline what,
I do think, I mean, I see you're planning on getting a lender, right?
yeah.
So I mean, at some point, that's gonna need to be, the CDC needs to see that stuff.
Oh,
As part
yeah,
of their
I could get
agreement.
proof of, you know, whatever.
And I mean, I'd like to make sure that's good on your end too, before we start incurring expenses on the
Yeah.
agreement, because, you know, we're gonna have the administrative costs, the CDC's gonna start billing us.
Yeah.
Once we say, all right, let's start drafting this agreement.
Yeah, I agree. And that's fine, I can, I have a meeting set up with my lender, you know, it's tax season, so I'm trying to get all my income stuff reported and, meet, not next week, but the following week. And that's just because I don't have that stuff done yet, so, I could go ahead and get a paper that says what gauge exactly what, just
Yeah,
that
just
I
a letter
qualify.
A letter from the bank saying that they're willing to lend to you on this and that they're okay with doing this deal. getting the down payment and knowing that you're working with them. I think that's
Yeah,
what they'd
that's
like
not
to
a
see.
problem.
Yeah, just a letter.
So it sounds like we're not gonna be doing anything tonight. We gotta wait till he gets that letter to you.
That would be
Yeah.
I think so, because I'd hate for us to start
Right, I
jumping
mean,
into
there's
this
no
agreement and
sense
then
in,
find out that there's an issue
Yeah.
with the financing.
yeah, I don't feel like there's any sense in, even voting on this until we get the ball rolling.
And John's recommendation was, don't vote on anything until you have, just do the CDC agreement, so there's one agreement, we don't have kind of two different things that might
Right,
somewhat
exactly,
conflict that we miss.
Right,
So I think if we agree to do it, maybe we'll motion and we'll, on the terms, so that we put those terms in the agreement, and then when the agreement's presented before us, that's when you vote.
So I ask you
that
this,
makes more sense.
Caleb, so, instead of having special meetings and stuff for when we come here, when do you think you'll have all of your stuff in line to, be ready to sign a contract?
All the closing date was supposed to be May 1st, and just through this process, we've been going through it for months now. I think when I get that letter, if that's all I need, and we can iron out these details, and I'd be ready to go in like probably a couple weeks now.
So that would be our next meeting, sounds like,
When is our next?
We're third Wednesday
third Wednesday.
of our regular meeting, so that would be the 15th of April. So,
But I think my big thing is I kind of don't want to just adopt this, this document here and just go with that. I feel like it's got some red tape that I need to look behind.
I don't think the compliance stuff you're talking about, the reporting, I don't think that's gonna be a problem based on our conversation today with the CDC's attorney. He said it was more so that forgivable loan structure and kind of a recorded mortgage so that they have some means of callback in case you don't perform. I think that's the main thing. I mean, we can tweak the MOU we drafted and send that to the CDC so they get that language in there. But I don't,
Just have that taken out of
We pretty much have agreed on that MOU thing, basically with
Yeah.
everything in that.
there. Right.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there was
Based off our
We
last
can fit
meeting.
that in with the.
Yeah, I
You
think
feel
I
comfortable?
think what Greendale was doing was much more, we're helping you build it. Whereas we're just helping you with the down payment. So we don't really have expectations, except for that it is rentable in 2 years. That in 2 years you have the ability to bring a tenant in.
Right.
And the upstairs is using tenants. because
Everything's
that-
up to code.
Yeah, it's all ready to go. I personally don't see any problem with you getting the upstairs rented. I mean, I have several friends who are always saying they're looking, so that doesn't seem as big, but we wanna make sure that the bottom is livable, or at least rentable. It's not always easy to find renters for business property, but at least if you have it available, I feel like you're just as motivated to get it rented as we are for you to get it rented. Cause it's not gonna make you money if sitting there empty.
Yeah.
So. That part I'm not as concerned about, like showing us that you've replaced the faucets really just doesn't feel like a good use of our time either. Yeah. Good job. You replaced the floor. I don't know.
Okay. So what, like I said, it sounds like we'll
we're
wait for him to get
Yeah.
something in writing from his lender that.
So by the 15th, you should have everything you need. We'll have,
Yeah.
you guys can talk a few more times. We'll have the contract from the CDC shown or
If
talking.
you guys are comfortable with us working with that CDC contract, getting started on that, as soon as I have that paperwork, I can do that. Or if you want to see that that's available at the next meeting, we can do that. I mean, it's,
I'm fine with you
Yeah,
going
I'm fine
ahead
with
and
doing
getting
it
the
because-
contract going, yeah.
Yeah,
You
especially
know, 'cause-
because we know, I don't feel like we are that far apart on our expectations.
Yeah, I feel like the last meeting, I felt really good about
Yeah.
everything, so.
I do too, and I don't have a problem, you've agreed that 50% of whatever the cost is, we'll pay the other 50% of the thing. But we do need that letter, because I wanna see that, you know, as soon as the letter shows up to Derek, then we'll start pushing fast and furious for the 15th. So does everybody feel like that's a good,
Yeah,
Anybody
that's
have any
where we're gonna have to
objections?
go with it,
you know,
yeah.
okay,
I still think you should go ahead and start on it though.
Yeah. because he's on a time crunch
Well,
too, we would like you to be
it's-
able to do
I
what
mean,
you
it's
can.
the fees, it's not necessarily my time that I'm concerned about.
Right,
It's more so, we're gonna get a bill from the CDC at the end of that agreement. So once we tell them to start,
oh, I got
you
you,
know, it's not me putting time in,
Okay,
it's
so
them
it's-
paying their attorney
Okay,
to
gotcha.
review the agreement and
now I got
Would you be able to get
Okay.
the letter
so
before
that's
2
what I'm
weeks?
saying, I would prefer to wait till we have that letter, because I'd hate to spend $1,000, $2,000 on something and then find out his lender's not gonna.
Well, that's why I'm
Yeah.
asking, would
Yeah.
you be able to get the letter before the 2 weeks, because
Yeah,
then we
I
cannot.
would, but I think it'd be prudent of me to wait for that, like, my taxes are not done right now.
Okay,
Which isn't a big concern of mine, but I think it's still good of me to see, you know, once I have that meeting, which will be, you know, the next Monday, not next Monday, but the following Monday.
it sounds like we're waiting for the 15th.
so the 15th we'll start.
And honestly, I mean, I didn't necessarily know I needed that, but I probably would have tried to have that already. I mean, I just saw that today and,
Yeah,
you know,
I thought we maybe mentioned it the last meeting.
well, I did call my bank and I mentioned to you that I called them and they didn't have a problem with the subordinate
Yeah.
refinancing
Right,
issue that I was concerned about.
okay. Yeah, that's
Which
it.
I've talked to a couple of our lenders, not only our lenders, but then I kind of went, hypothetically, what would you say to our business lender? And he said the same thing. He said, that's not something that's gonna make the world stop turning.
Is that gonna be an issue with the subordinate agreement?
No.
CDC, you think they're fine with that?
Yeah, it sounded like they were.
Gage, could you get a like cost on those fees? Like,
Yeah, I can ask Anthony about that more, and Mike, because I wasn't sure when I talked to them about it, exactly what those were. I knew that with the hotel deal, there was fees. But I wasn't sure until today, because we just met with Anthony today and like about the CDC, so.
And then, I mean, obviously, it's still contingent on that Winover Street property too, so. But. Okay. There's nothing else there, we'll kind of wait and I'll see how it goes, and I'll keep you guys updated on mine, and if anything happens on that.
So I guess we got new business, Mike, right?
How do I go about applying for this?
I do have a couple comments on the MOU, but we don't need to get into that if we're gonna work that out through email or whatever.
I don't know, you guys wanna go over that, you real quick?
Oh, well, awesome.
So that would be. I don't think I have. Enough for everyone, but I'll pull it up.
And really, it's just one, this all looks similar to what we've already discussed, but I did like something on there that was, kind of had an optional statement by it.
This is the second page,
Yeah, under 7,
the financial security note.
the prorated forgiveness, and I don't know if that is the same as like the forgivable loan, if it's, you know, if we have a 5-year agreement. I know originally we were talking after 5 years that it would just be forgiven. I saw a prorated forgiveness. Is that something you guys would consider, like split across 5 years, 46,000 divided by 5 years? Because, and then just say something happens to me and, you know, say I die. I mean, God forbid that happens. But just say it happens and in 3 years, my wife's got to sell the building. So instead of paying $46,000 back, and I already meant, just say I already meet the requirements after 2 years, so, and then I just have 3 years hanging over my head. Would you guys consider the 46,000 over 5 years, so that after year one, it goes down to whatever 46 divided by 5 is, so on and so forth? Is that,
I guess I think this, I don't know, because I'm looking at it from two different, I mean, I totally see your point. I'm looking at it as we're in an agreement with you and your LLC. If you die, you're the only person on the LLC.
which I'm not, but
Okay, but you know what I'm saying? So I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, so what happens if something does happen to you? Where do we go from there? How does that work? Do we know, or is that something?
It would probably go into probate, wouldn't it?
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean,
I
because,
think, I guess it depends on the LLC, and if the LLC can still perform the terms of the
right, the
agreement.
agreement.
So that's like,
the only reason I ask is because, just say I get this done in a year. And I have met, you know, all of the requirements that we agreed upon. I'm not asking for it to just go away at that point, just that it declines. You know, if I'm on 5th year and something happens and it defaults because of whatever happens, then it'd be nice if it were $9,000 versus having to pay, you know, that 45,000 back. I'm fine either way, I just saw it on there. If you guys don't feel comfortable with that, then that's fine. But I would just ask you to consider it, I guess.
The only thing I would look at when I'm listening to you, I mean, God forbid if anything happened to you. But I wouldn't wanna go put it in a contract where we do the forgiveness and it's in there. Cause it say that you fulfill your obligation within 2 years, the 3rd year it's in there. That it's over a period, you just sell it, then you make a profit. Now, if you're more apt of feeling that the financial responsibility or the burden you're leaving on your family, maybe we could put something in there for some unforeseen reason that you passed away, there could be some sort of forgiveness. But I don't want it just to say, we'll give you forgiveness year after year
Right.
in general, because like
and I
I
think
said,
that's my point, is I feel the same way. Like, if you had a major medical health issue, or if you pass, God forbid, I can see forgiveness there. I can see where I would be like, that we didn't have this agreement with your wife. She's not a contractor, I
Yeah.
assume. I mean, though she might be still part of it, she's not a contractor. She's like Mike's wife. She's not a contractor. That we shouldn't expect, you know, I know his wife very well. She does mortgages. We shouldn't expect her to suddenly go in and start doing things that I'm sure she wouldn't want to.
Yeah, right.
I don't see a problem with forgiveness for major medical or, you know, unfortunate, untimely passing, but in 3 years, I also don't want to see $27,000 go away because you found a good buyer and us be down $27,000 when we're still looking at you going, but we did this in good faith. And I think good faith also includes if something were seriously medically wrong with you, and we all know that that can happen very quickly. You know, and I'm not talking like a sprained toe. I mean, if you're having major medical issues and, you know, I have major medical insurance and it covers the big 5, you know, heart attack, stroke, cancer, you know, and then a couple other things too. I can't remember right now. Oh, taking an arm or a leg or something like that. You know, the big things, the things that are, or if you're paralyzed, those are all the big things. But I don't see a problem with that. But if in 3 years, you're just like, well, you've forgiven 3 years of it, I'm just gonna kind of be like, that kind
Yeah.
of stinks, you know, especially because if it is something where something's happened to you, I mean, I can totally see us being in a situation where we would be very forgiving, because I know we would all feel the same way,
Yeah,
you know,
no, I totally get that.
which I wouldn't
That's
have a
fine.
problem doing a major medical or if you passed, which, you know, feels very morbid, but like that, you know, like we've all kind of saying, just because you found a good buyer, I'm kind of like, I mean, good for you.
Yeah.
And you should be allowed to sell it in 3 years if you want to, but we need to be paid back for that.
Right.
Okay,
So, I mean, and I think that's
I'm fine
that's
with
fair on
that.
both of our parts. You know,
Yeah.
if something happened to you, we don't wanna burden your wife. Even
Yeah.
though she may make a profit, the reality is profit's not gonna be nearly as much as what your
yeah.
part
So-
in her life is, but also,
So do you guys kind of see it as like it tied to me personally then, like
I mean, it's
21
through the
Pines for
LLC,
sure,
yeah,
but,
it's-
and I know I can't, you know, can't, and don't plan on selling. But once the requirements are fulfilled from a renovation standpoint,
I guess who
I
else
guess
is on
what-
the 21 Pine? I never really considered who else was
Yeah, I've
on.
never asked that either. Who is
and
it?
you know, it's not anything, I just saw, it's just me and my wife, by the way. But I just saw that it was in here. under
Which I think
7.
most spouses are on things of this nature. I'm sure that the Stalins are the same way. They're both part of it, even though
Yeah,
he's the muscle behind it.
yeah, we don't have to, I liked it, well, for obvious reasons, but yeah, I understand you guys.
Now, if it was like you, your brother, and another contractor, we might be more like, you got two more perfectly capable contractors who
right.
would be willing to and able to continue doing the things. Your wife and you, she's raising your children. If something were to happen to you, that's a big difference. And
Other than that, I think it was just like some literature, like commercial use, I saw like commercial retail. And then I know we talked about like an office, you know, if there were an insurance company, if there were something that would be good for downtown and not necessarily retail. That was one thing. And then the disbursement structure, I think we talked about that. And I dare go back and send this through or whatever, but I was leaning more towards a lump sum that way. Cause I'm gonna already have money into it by the acquisition, so I don't really want to put more money into it and then get, you know, disbursements, I guess, or reimbursements.
Yeah. I assume it would be lump sum at closing. But again, that would be between the CDC, because they would be the ones paying you, it wouldn't be us for that. But I mean, I think we could probably make sure that's clear on our.
So you have an agreement with them, I have an agreement with them, but our agreement, we don't have an agreement together.
We can't legally have one together,
Okay.
for the way.
Which is why
the
we
way
probably
it
go
is
with that.
structured.
We could put it together and then it could be facilitated through them, right?
Right.
So my agreement's not necessarily gonna look any different than your agreement with them.
It'd be different because we're paying them and we're gonna establish the terms.
Yeah, but the terms are established.
Right.
Kind of
They'll be
between us
established
two
in our,
parties,
they'll
right?
be established in our agreement.
Okay.
All right, so I guess you get something in writing from your lender, please share it and.
Okay.
We'll put some stuff in motion and I guess, so we're gonna continue to try to market the property on Linover Street too, because. I mean, it'll kind of be, even if we get the agreement approved on our end, it'll still kind of be on a hold until we can get that funding.
Back to you, sir.
back to you.
So how do I apply for the same thing, what he's doing, I guess?
What, I mean, are you looking for the property you're already doing, or are you looking to purchase another
Multiple
property?
things. I'm looking for either help with the coffee shop, the old doctor's office, and possibly I'll put in a bid on the Lenover Street probably. So,
I think, especially the Lenover Street, moving that would help everybody. We have to see something that, I mean, personally, we have to see something that's gonna, like the Lenover Street, I know you've already got great things going on Bank Street. We've talked about once Lenover moves, we do want to continue doing stuff like this, because the more we get stuff going, the better it is. I know everyone's so excited about the coffee shop, they can't see themselves I'm so excited about it. I cannot wait to drop my kid off at school now all of a sudden. I cannot wait. I'm ready to take him to school. So, because I will think you've got a drive-through going in, my life couldn't be better. So, I don't think anyone's turning down any good.
If you're interested in the Lenover Street building, I mean, we just need a written offer at this point. We've gone through that process.
Yeah, we've already got it to the point where it's ready to take an
Okay,
offer and
I'll
go.
have one for you tomorrow then.
And we're very interested in doing something to help you
Because
develop town,
I'll
because
start
you're
another
doing such a
business
great
and-
job.
This is what's gonna happen,
And
so,
I think
Yeah.
we could consider
That's
reducing.
what we're looking for.
yeah, I know, that's what I'm trying to do with
Right.
everything I'm doing, so.
Yeah, and we're very interested in helping you, just like we've told him, we're very interested in helping, and you talking about Lenover puts us in a situation to help him better and the next people behind you. Because we're very interested in doing that, we want to see downtown thrive, we've spent a tremendous amount of time and energy getting that
Right.
funding from the state, and we're excited, so.
Okay.
We can't wait. All good things. Yeah, I don't know.
I can
I
give a
can, I can
letter.
tell you, our conversation with Caleb started back in October.
Yeah,
Okay,
He
so it's
came,
been-
he came to a meeting and said, this is what I want to do, I'd like.
and it has
I'd
not been
like
quick for poor
20%
Caleb.
Right,
Towards the
Yeah.
purchase price.
right.
And he's sitting there saying, you're welcome for pushing through all this, because it has been a really rough push with
I
him.
know
And
Lucky's
not
Lucky's
on
the
any part
easiest
on
person
his.
to deal with, so you're not having, that's not
Oh.
fun already, I'm sure there, so,
No, he's, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just been a very long process, so.
yeah.
But the Lenover Street especially that frees us up a lot too, if it's funding in our
So if I
pockets
could
to
buy
help
the
you.
Lenover Street, you guys would possibly
Back to you.
give,
No.
would you give money also like you're doing with him? I guess I should say, or help with the
Well, what it would
doctor's
probably
office, or,
be is if you buy that, and then you come to us proposing what you're wanting to put in there,
okay,
and then we would look into that and say, well, you know, you had an
Financially,
amount.
how much can we afford to help you?
Exactly,
And, because we do want to keep in mind that we want to help Caleb, we want to help you, we want to help the next person. You know, and if you're doing 3 buildings, well, my goodness, we can't wait to help you with 3,
Yeah,
10,
right.
15.
Right.
You know, it's gonna be and much like the Lenover Street is a very prime property that will do beautiful things, he's looking at one too.
Right.
You know, and I just can't tell you how much we're excited about the coffee shop and the hair salon. That I told the girls, you get someone doing tattoos in there and we will never have to leave Dillsboro again.
Or massage.
Yeah, massage,
I'm
something.
sure she's working on something like that.
Yeah, I mean, those are all things that they keep people in town, which is why we're doing the same thing with Caleb, but we would be more than willing to really sit down with you, because
Okay.
those are all things that. Good stuff. Yeah, good things. That's what we're here for.
That's
guys.
another- that's
Making
why we're
investment
here. That's what we're
without
doing.
Yeah, so, and.
Okay.
We all know you and what you do, and we're all excited. I was thrilled to see you here. I was like, what are all Mike's doing here today? So
That's good,
yeah,
okay,
we're very excited to get things rolling.
all right.
So don't feel like our doors just as open. We're excited.
I didn't know it was an option, that's what,
Well,
Better.
we never considered it
Okay.
either until he brought it to us and said, hey, what, can you help me get in this property?
okay,
And we said, can we?
Yeah, that's our job.
That's
Do
what we
that.
want to be able to do that. And I mean, that's stuff that we want to help people get some of those downtown buildings moving. So. We're so excited.
So
We may not seem excited, but we're really
No, I'm
excited.
excited. I
We're
need
really
coffee
excited.
now.
No, I'm like, yes.
So I'll just, I had this on the agenda, but I kind of already mentioned it. Just for the record, I mean, we've gone through that process, like I mentioned, for Lenover Street, we can accept offers below appraised value now. I just need basically a written proposal, and we can consider it, we can negotiate. And that was as of March 20th. So at any point, I'm still kind of talking to people that were interested, asking them to give me something in writing. So I'll let you guys know if I get something between now or next meeting. Hopefully we actually have something by then. It sounds like maybe we might.
What was our appraisal on that?
It was 203.
How you do that? Yeah, I'm just gonna write that down too, because I couldn't remember if it was two
I
or three
mean,
or
we
206.
can consider like the benefit of the proposed use. I mean, we could, somewhere like, if Mike's wanting to do something that's more appealing than someone else and offering a lower price, I mean, we could consider that. At this rate, since we've gone through this process, we're kind of,
Because we've done all of
Strings are
the, you know,
Yeah.
all the things that held us.
So we have two, then we got Mike and somebody else.
Right.
If they, yeah.
Right.
So,
well, at one point, there was three.
There was
total at one
three,
point,
but
if
yeah.
I'm counting them. So like I said, just wanted to keep that on your radar, and then with our certificate deposit, my understanding is Rita's got that all taken care of at the bank, which they do want it in our meeting minutes. I'm pretty sure we've like, covered all this, but I told her I would bring it up and just make a motion to, accept the 6-month CD that was kind of presented at the last meeting.
What rate did he give?
I think it was it 3.67, something like that?
That's probably right, because I think he told me 2.5.
3.61.
Yeah, so that's. Hmm.
61.
yeah, I think, yeah.
That's what I have.
I'm gonna make sure, because I think he told me a little bit higher than what he told us.
Didn't you mention at the last meeting that the developer over there, this company subdivision is getting ready to be coming up on their redoing their deposit or certificate or whatever it was?
So they got the roadway bond. And we kind of are holding that money in escrow for them. So I'm assuming once they're finishing up that phase 1, they're probably gonna want to get started on phase 2. I'm gonna bet he's probably not gonna want to hold a bond to have to perform on that. So he's probably gonna ask us to continue holding that escrow, but I don't know. I haven't talked to Chris. Yeah, I haven't talked to him to know exactly what his plans are, but I know he's getting closer to finishing phase 1.
We're starting the next 3 houses here soon,
So,
so.
and I think that's the last 3 in phase 1. So
Nice. Fantastic.
I'd say maybe next year, we might be talking about phase 2, but
So are we doing it for the CD, are we doing it for just the 200 and pulling the rest out, or are we gonna leave that in there?
I thought we-
you mean the interest?
Yeah, the interest,
We talked about just 200.
okay.
Yeah,
That's what I,
thought,
that's
yeah.
what I thought we had decided too, we were
Yeah.
just doing the 200, pulling the above what we had to do out, so that we
Because
can
we
have
have
it
to keep
available.
that 200.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 200, but I know it would
Yeah,
be nice to have it,
we gotta hold that.
yeah,
I
the
mean,
200.
Because technically, that's a grant,
If you put it in there and pull it out, then we're in
Yeah,
trouble.
I mean,
No.
Yeah.
Chris could say, I'm done, phase 1's completed, public infrastructure has been done, give me my money back. I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Right.
but I don't think that's gonna happen either.
yeah, I think, but the interest is
Right.
what we can put back in our piggy bank and hoard it.
Right.
Hoard our little piggy bank.
So I guess we're on hold with that because we're waiting for you to find out what the.
I'll know for sure tomorrow, because I'm gonna talk to Chris, I thought it was 2.6.
I'm pretty sure we approved it at our last.
Yeah,
meeting.
I did
So,
too.
Yeah,
I could probably just give Rita a copy
Yeah,
of the
because we're
minutes.
just like, just the 200 is interest for.
yeah,
I'll go through the recording and double check.
yeah, either way, I think we did vote on it, didn't we? Yeah, I thought we did. Do we wanna vote again and just say, yes, we're gonna do it, just to make 100% that you have it on?
I think we're fine.
Okay.
We had it in there. Rita brought it up because she didn't know that we
Got her
already
right.
talked about it, so I told her I'd stick it on the.
All right, sounds good.
Love it.
That's all I have, unless you guys have questions or anything else you wanna talk about. On your engagement.
We're meeting with the IDC tomorrow to talk about the blight redevelopment, application that we put in with the town of Dillsboro. There's 3 buildings that signed MOUs, the building owners, potential building owners that signed MOUs in Dillsboro. The Indiana Landmarks building, the one that Caleb was looking to buy, and then, 12196. Yeah, the one that you guys own, or the town owns. And so we'll know more tomorrow. We won't know for sure if they're gonna give us the money, but we'll have an idea if they like it, so.
Good deal.
Moving along on that.
What do you do with the shoe shop?
Try to get money to secure it a little better and make it a little more appealing for someone. Technically,
Is that
council,
still available too then, I guess?
technically council still owns that. I've been trying to talk to them and giving it to the redevelopment commission, so they're a little more flexible and dispose of property the town is.
What building is that?
The old shoe shop.
The white building across from the art center on North Street, across from Heritage Point, there by the old doctor's office. Yeah, it's pretty well available.
Okay.
Just a matter
Talk to you about that one too then.
of.
We love it.
Right, different in town after.
That's our whole job.
I know, it's exciting. Good.
So is there anything else anyone needs? Do I have a motion to dismiss?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll say it.
Anybody opposed? Thank you all.
All right.
You like that or?
It was so
Yeah, I'll try to
exciting,
get a better
Mike.
idea of what the,